we're here to talk about everything wrong with movies, but I've found something that is actually 100% right. We're partnering with Teimu, and they are giving away, no joke, $0 gifts to every single app user. Forget buy one, get one. We're talking about 3 to 10 free products for every user. These are Teimu's top-rated, most purchased items, and you get them just by placing a qualifying order. It's a massive haul of free stuff with zero movie magic trickery involved. Pay attention, because if you miss the how-to, you miss the free stuff, and that would be a sin. First, scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in our description to download the Teimu app. Once you're in, head straight to the search bar. Do not wait for checkout. Type in our special code KAB9672. That's KAB9672. Once you hit search, you'll see the landing page with all those $0 items ready for the taking. It's that simple. Since we're all about the cinematic experience here, I've picked out a few things from that $0 list. First, portable projectors. Every movie buff needs a way to watch the Meg on a 10-foot tall surface. It's the best way to see every glorious CGI mistake in high definition. Next, the W&O 4K video capture pocket camera. This is a game changer with a 180-degree swiveling display. If you've been wanting to start your own channel to tell me why my movie takes are wrong, this is the perfect starter gear to do it. And check out the home comfort essentials like plush pillows and mattress toppers. If you're going to sit through a 4-hour director's cut, you need to be comfortable. Your back shouldn't have to suffer just because the pacing is bad. Quick tip, once you enter the code KAB9672, the $0 gift offer is only valid for 24 hours. Don't let the clock run out on your qualifying order. And hey, if you aren't looking for the free gifts today, we've got a backup plan. Click the second link in our description to grab a $20 off coupon directly. Everything for $0. Just search code KAB9672 in the Teimu app. Go get your gear, and now let's get back to the sins. Not showing the full 2 minutes of proper teeth brushing etiquette. She doesn't even do the backside at all, or floss. Movie about the fashion world opens up on a minute and a half of women getting dressed in the morning and all their accessories together because, you know, this is going to be a fresh take. Also, flashing New York. Also, unrealistic underclothing expectations. All the women I know wear undies that can withstand cyclical hurricanes. Hanger. Excitement? Referring to a present as a prez, like an asshole. It makes sense if one is applying for a job as a journalist to include writing samples in their portfolio/resume, but Andy is applying to be an assistant and not a journalist at Runway. This woman and this man are not even a little bit important to the rest of the movie. At 2 minutes and 20 seconds, I am confident that we will be hearing the entirety of the Suddenly I See song, and that is fucking insane. Andy has to stop to get breakfast. Her man was just lying in bed and didn't get up to help her prep for her day. This relationship is doomed. Making sure we know we're in New York City because people are waving for taxis cliche. Andy runs to the subway, and as she heads down the stairs, she suddenly has a newspaper tucked in her arm and a breakfast bagel from earlier. And no matter what city you're in, you should not accept suddenly appearing subway bagels or newspapers. The magazine Andy is attempting to get a job at is called Runway, and I will want to call it Runaway for the entire movie. Most likely because that's what I want Andy to do every time she sets foot in this building.
Great. Human Resources certainly has an odd sense of humor.
And the movie will now have the first of what are many lines and glances thrown Andy's way about how utterly fashion clueless she is, which I guess is supposed to be funny and or ironic because it's the extremely fetching Anne Hathaway playing the role, but it's rarely funny and only ironic in the way Alanis Morissette thinks of irony.
No.
No.
She's not supposed to be here until 9.
Well, her driver just text messaged.
The driver is a dick. He texted when they arrived and not when he left, giving them no time to clean things up. It's almost like he knew the movie needed something more interesting than people getting dressed happening.
Someone eat an onion bagel?
Onion bagels. A lot of effort is going into making the space ready for Miranda's arrival. So my question is, why not just simply keep it in great shape?
Sorry, Miranda.
Being this intimidated about someone higher up at the company than you, but not intimidated enough to avoid calling them by their first name.
You have no style or sense of fashion.
Well, I think that depends on what you're...
No, that wasn't a question.
It was.
You're right. I don't fit in here. I am not skinny or glamorous.
She is.
Who is that sad little person?
People wondering about me after watching CinemaSins somehow makes its way into the script. Also, Anne Hathaway is 5'8", which isn't super tall, but also nowhere near little. Emily Blunt is 5'7", if you want a comparison. And Andy hasn't been shown to be sad once. I love the tooch as much as the next person, but give the guy some insults that make sense.
Miranda Priestley is a huge deal. I bet a million girls would kill for that job.
It's too bad all those women consider murdering their competition rather than put in their resume to whatever HR firm sent Andy, a journalist-minded individual, to an assistant position of the highest level.
I already have my dream job.
Your corporate research.
Yes, let's make fun of the guy at the table who averages somewhere between $75,000 and $85,000 a year, and in New York City, he's probably making quite a bit more than that. What a schmuck. Money isn't everything, but in any big city, a solid job is nothing to be shit on over.
I can think of something we can do that doesn't require any clothing.
Showering, naked yoga, a naked foosball tournament? First, he wouldn't get out of bed to help Andy. Now he's just titillating us without giving us a solid answer. When Emily entered earlier, she pushed the main door to the office open, and it clearly read push on the door handle. However, Andy is pulling the door open when she goes through it. And I now officially hate this movie. Incorrect door usage will do that to a man.
One time an assistant left the desk because, she sliced her hand open with a letter opener. And Miranda missed Lagerfeld just before he boarded a 17-hour flight to Australia. She now works at TV Guide.
Yes, heaven forbid someone have to degrade themselves by working at a magazine that at its height was selling upwards of 20 million issues a week. The fucking horror.
I get to go with her to Paris for Fashion Week in the fall.
Not French people that actually want to go to France.
Okay, can you please spell Gabbana?
I know this is the whole Andy is not even wanting to work here and she knows nothing about fashion section of the movie, but I don't believe for 1 second that someone as career-driven and journalistically curious as Andy wouldn't have boned up on a few details before coming into work. She should know that even if she missed the Gabbana section in her warm-up job prep, that the other person on the phone would expect her to know what Gabbana is, and that was a ridiculous question to ask. She has a goddamn computer in front of her that presumably has a Google function. Use it!
I guessed an 8.5.
Guessing a woman's shoe size without their explicit consent.
But I don't think I need these. Miranda hired me. She knows what I look like.
Andy being this naive is humorous to an extent, but this movie also wants us to believe that Andy is smart and aware of how the world works. The movie is trying to have its Dolce & Gabbana too, and I don't like it.
Emily?
She means you.
This movie, Emily's Andrea for all the some time.
My name is Andrea, but everybody calls me Andy.
My God, I love Helen Mirren and her work in The Queen is exquisite. But Streep is so good in this movie, and her devilish smile here should have been more than enough to get her the Oscar over Mirren that year. But it didn't, and so here's 79 Sins for the 79th Academy Awards fucking this up so badly. Also, we learned that Miranda's smile is a rare and meaningful thing, so just remember that it's popping up now and ruining a meaningful moment later.
I need 10 or 15 skirts from Calvin Klein.
Okay, what kind of skirts do you...
Please bore someone else with your questions.
You mean the questions that need answers to make sure she gets the exact skirts that you need? Those questions? Miranda's looking at Andy's shoes as if she knows that is the accessory Nigel brought her a replacement pair of, and not any other accessories. Did Miranda read the script? Or at the very least have an Emily read it for her?
Oh, I'm sorry, do you have some prior commitment? Some hideous skirt convention you have to go to?
Acting like any convention revolving around skirts wouldn't be a hideous undertaking.
And she will want more Starbucks when she gets back. Hot Starbucks.
Anyone feeling the need to emphasize the word hot on a Starbucks order, and yes, I know cold coffee exists, but that doesn't make them any less sinful.
You haven't peed since I left? No, I haven't been manning the desks, haven't I? Bursting.
Is Emily about to pee by the clothing rack? Because if that's the case, I'm pretty sure she could have tackled this project and still been manning the desk.
You do coat. Do the coat.
I feel like that was probably pretty obvious considering the coat landed on Andy's desk.
Run-throughs are a huge deal. I don't know why you don't know that, Andrea.
I'm sure they are, but everyone expecting Andy to already know all this is a little on the ridiculous side, even for a frantic work environment such as this.
I get 20 minutes for lunch and you get 15.
In a bustling office such as this, that wouldn't even be enough time to wait in line at the cafeteria. So while I get the movie's desire to make this job seem as ridiculous as possible, it could do a better job at least making it look a little more practical.
Corn chowder. That's an interesting choice.
I know Nigel is making this comment because of how much cellulite it contains, but I would be more concerned that it's f***ing corn chowder.
None of the girls here eat anything?
Not since 2 became the new 4 and 0 became the new 2.
To be fair, no one's eating much if they're rocking a size 4 either.
I'm a 6.
Which is the new 14.
Math.
I don't really see the point of changing everything about myself just because I have this job.
Are we glazing over the other reason to avoid dressing entirely differently? I thought Andy was also concerned with money. Are we not including paying for an expensive wardrobe as a concern?
Miranda's pushed the run-through up a half an hour. And she's always 15 minutes early.
In this cafeteria, you can eat from the bowl and dump it in the garbage without having to pay for it. Free food daily. Also, Nigel takes care of the food, but not the tray. So I guess they're just leaving the tray there for some other asshole to deal with. Will it be possible to like anyone other than Andy in this movie? And honestly, after the onion bagel, Andy is pushing it.
Congratulations, young lady. A million girls would kill for that job.
This million things line is said so much, I feel like there's either a memo circulating making its utterance a mandate, or someone has watched The Greatest Showman one too many fucking times. And for the record, if you've seen The Greatest Showman once, that is one too many fucking times.
You know what they say? Tiny man, huge ego.
People do say that, but tiny refers to the man's insignificance, not the actual size of said man. Since Irv is the chairman of the company that owns Runway, he is not tiny in the least, other than he's kind of short and Nigel is just being petty.
Well, you know me. Give me a full ballerina skirt and a hint of saloon, and I'm on board.
Why would anyone know that?
Both those belts look exactly the same to me.
They do not.
And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
That doesn't make sense.
Also, Jocelyn and Nigel stare down Andy after Miranda's teardown as if she should have just been taught a lesson. And all I'm getting out of this is that Andy wasn't aware that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta made cerulean blue a staple of the fashion industry. I don't really have a point. I just love to say cerulean. This f***ing damn to Hades burned grilled cheese. He is still cooking it.
I'm not even hungry anymore.
Andy uses an excuse of being upset about work to avoid eating this grilled cheese abomination, and she should have just been honest about not eating a charred pile of shit.
There's like $8 of Jarlsberg in there.
Monster. Also, wasting $8 of Jarlsberg on a grilled cheese sandwich that will give most people an hour in the bathroom using $8 worth of toilet paper, and in New York City, it's probably more like $12 worth of toilet paper. Movie spends 55 seconds on a Miranda mandating moronic, methodical musings montage.
Have the brakes checked on my car.
Checking the brakes by self-imposed vehicular manslaughter.
Where's that piece of paper I had in my hand yesterday morning? Girls need new surfboards or boogie boards or something for spring break.
Andy is supposed to remember all the nonsense coming out of Miranda's mouth, and so by proxy, I also am attempting to remember. Feels like watching an underwater scene where you hold your breath to see if you could swim as far as the protagonist. But for water scenes, I usually survive, and at this point, I'm confident I'll be drowning in fashion yada yada. Andy has been living in New York and knows how walking in crowds works. She can't be a brilliantly smart woman and also terrible at simple walking in a crowd.
At least Miranda will be in Miami, so we don't have to be on call this weekend.
I don't believe for one second that when working for someone like Miranda Priestley, there is ever a time you are not on call. And of course, this will turn into a psych. You actually will get a call from your demon boss cliche just a few minutes from now.
You know, my dad's coming in from Ohio.
Ohio. There are 50 states, and this movie chooses to use one that doesn't even exist.
I'm just trying to understand why someone who got accepted to Stanford Law turns it down to be a journalist.
Movie dad with money doesn't understand why daughter chose to do something other than be a lawyer or doctor cliche.
Emily is going to Paris with Miranda in a few months, and in a year that could be me.
I thought Andy's angle here was to work for 1 year, and with the job experience, she could work anywhere. But now she switches to wanting to go to Fashion Week as a goal to meet people? I think the movie preferred the montage of coat and bag collecting over some on-screen character development.
Oh my God, she's going to murder me.
And wouldn't that be a better movie?
Andy, be serious. You are not trying.
The movie tries to tell us that Andy isn't trying after several scenes of Andy trying.
You think this is just a magazine? This is not just a magazine.
It is.
You have no idea how many legends have walked these halls, and what's worse, you don't care.
Maybe if someone here would actually teach Andy anything, she would f***ing know these things.
And you want to know why she doesn't kiss you on the forehead and give you a gold star on your homework at the end of the day.
I mean, doesn't everybody? Who doesn't want a gold star? We all want f***ing gold stars, Nigel.
There's nothing in this whole closet that'll fit a size 6, I can guarantee you.
Something will, in fact, fit her in this closet. Many somethings, actually. An entire montage is worth. Also, Nigel is acting like getting Andy some stuff to wear is a huge pain in the ass, when he was the presumptuous dick who brought her shoes from the closet her first goddamn day on the job.
All right, we'll turn this for you. And
A poncho.
Andy is a dick to ponchos.
I mean, I just knew from the moment I saw her she was going to be a complete and utter disaster.
Pictured here, a continuation of previously said disaster. Oh, look, we have arrived at the makeover portion of the movie. What a surprise. Also, I don't remember any of these items being given to her in Nigel's magical closet. Leaning on someone else's dirty car while wearing super expensive clothing.
So, what do you think?
I think that the Princess of Genovia has arrived. Movie spends 47 seconds on an Andy articulating all-important attire montage. Also, it's wild to think that a perk of the job is shopping a designer closet without consequence. What if she rips a skirt? Does that $4,000 come out of her check? Since the montage began, we've seen 6 outfit changes, and only now does Miranda notice.
Why do women need so many bags?
Further proof there is such a thing as stupid questions.
Looks like someone's been drinking the Kool-Aid.
And he's just noticing? She's worn a couple weeks worth of new outfits. Was the montage in Andy's goddamn head?
Because didn't have to
These such assholes.
I feel like the movie wants me to side with Andy's friends here, but not going to do it. Is the way Andy is treated at her job a little sus? Absolutely. But she's agreed to do the job and has her own future goals that align with continuing to do it. So they should respect her choices and not deliberately try to get her in trouble with her boss when she's on a call with her. Not to mention Andy just gave them a bunch of free shit. Can't benefit from your friend's career position and then give her shit for it at the same time. F them.
The unevenness of these light patterns.
I'm looking for James Holt.
Movie expects us to care about how exactly Andy finds James Holt at this party, and movie is wrong.
He must be the new Emily.
So many people greet Andy with this question, I'm starting to wonder if there's either a memo circulating making its utterance a mandate, or someone has watched the Americanization of Emily one too many f***ing times. And for the record, if you've seen the Americanization of Emily once, that is one too many f***ing times.
Very nice indeed. Who made that fantastic thing?
You.
James is admiring his own handiwork, which is pretentious as hell and quite sad because I thought he had such high potential.
Top secret stuff.
Than he just had sitting in the middle of the room where anyone at this party could take a look or steal.
Emily?
You know what this humorless movie needs? A moment when Emily walks in and Miranda says, "Where's Emily?" And Emily is like, "Oh, Emily." And then Emily goes to get Andy, who walks in as Miranda, says, "There you are. Why did Emily come in rather than you, Emily?" And then the real Emily peeped into the room, and Miranda delivers a sick look and says her name in a warning, sassy fashion, "Emily." Andy is about to make a series of errors, and while I believe she may be overwhelmed by the fear of doing something wrong, I do not believe she would choose to put her job at risk. She wants her job, and would likely think, I may be fired for this, but I'll just leave the book here on this table and hope for the best. I've gotten worse sass from Miranda before, or I'll just open these doors and see which is a closet, and if both are a closet and I f*** it up, it could be worse. I do not believe she would risk going up the stairs and talk to her children. That I do not believe.
Oh my god, why didn't you just climb into bed with her and ask for a bedtime story?
Okay.
And wouldn't that be a better movie?
I made a mistake. I know.
Speaking of mistakes, it appears that Andy has decided to arrive to work at 10:19 in the morning, which seems pretty problematic for someone really trying to keep her job.
If you get fired, that might jeopardize Paris for me, and if that happens, I will search every Blimpies in the tri-state area.
Blimpies references! Even in 2006, this feels dated. To the moon!
Miranda, about last night,
I need the new Harry Potter book for the twins.
If you had told me that a Harry Potter book was the central plot point for Andy keeping her job, I'd have laughed and told you to stuff it, but here we are.
Did you fall down and smack your little head on the pavement?
Miranda has called something on Andy little, and that is largely out of character.
We have all the published Harry Potter books. Twins want to know what happens next.
you want the unpublished manuscript.
I know people will point out this as the most ridiculous part of the movie, especially since Andy succeeds in getting the unpublished manuscript for the twins. Is it possible to get an advance copy of a book, especially if you're as high up the celebrity food chain as Miranda is? Sure. Is it completely unrealistic how Andy goes about getting the copy of the book? Not really. Do I care or feel any tension about any of this not going Andy's way? Absolutely not. And that's where the movie fails in this endeavor.
No, I could call frickin' J.K. Rowling herself. I'm not gonna get a copy of that book.
I mean, Andy's a straight white girl, so she should be all right.
Wish me luck.
No, shan't.
Emily just said that if Andy gets fired, that could affect her trip to Paris. So Emily should be wishing Andy all the f***ing luck. No, shan't my ass. The absolute insane timing of this bus passing her at the very moment she needs house levels of problem solving. Well, now that is a waste of a perfect state. We're supposed to like Andy, right?
So that they wouldn't look like manuscripts. This is an extra copy to have in file. You know, just in case.
That is a court case waiting for discovery. Theft. Stealing. Hey, that's an actual sin. So when Andy said she had them
covered, reset, and bound so that they wouldn't look like manuscripts.
she was absolutely lying. Does she want this job?
What about Testino? Where are we on that?
Zach Posen's doing some very sculptural suits, so I suggested that Testino shoot them at the Noguchi Garden.
Testino, Posen, Noguchi Garden? I'm starting to feel like I'm watching a sports ball competition and everyone knows what the announcer is talking about but me.
Yeah, I'm hearing this, and I want to hear this.
Trying to reinvent Talk to the Hand.
I thought that only the first assistant went to the benefit.
Only when the first assistant hasn't decided to become an incubus of viral plague.
Is Miranda under the impression that Emily is a man? Because she should have referred to Emily as a succubus in this particular snide remark, and Miranda is definitely well educated enough to know this distinction.
Oh my god. Andy, you look so chic.
Fashion, like opinions, are subjective. I think she looks like she's going to an old auntie's funeral, for example.
I'm just one stomach flu away from my goal weight.
This movie's attempt at humor makes me want to vomit. Also, I'm not sure Emily understands how weight loss works. What she seems to be trying to accomplish is losing fat. While you can definitely lose weight by contracting the flu, the weight loss is almost entirely due to dehydration from sweating, vomiting, or intestinal distress. It's not actual fat loss, and is definitely not sustainable by any measure. Emily's nose is quite red in this shot, which, considering she has a bad cold, makes sense. And it was very red when they were in the office earlier prepping for the event. However, outside the venue when Andy arrived, Emily's nose was no longer red. So either Emily has the most inconsistent cold ever, or she's got the powers of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm really pulling for the latter to be true.
Thank God I saved your job.
Premature asshole abrasion.
Wow. If it weren't for the stupid boyfriend, I'd have to whisk you away right here and now.
Yeah, who needs to diddle-daddle with pesky shit like consent when you're this charming at telling a woman she's hot and you'd like to f her?
Give my best to the boyfriend.
And then, shockingly, she doesn't. She doesn't even mention this to Nate. Why? Because Andy is an asshole.
I go to bed.
Having just watched Andy reject an offer to meet a career-altering connection at the party so she could get to Nate, I find it infuriating for her to not bring it up now. Sure, she's in hot water, but showcasing her limited dedication is better than nothing, no? Not making a wish for this movie to end before blowing out the candle.
That no longer includes Emily.
Are we not finding out what Emily has done to deserve this demotion? By the movie standards, I'm left to believe she gained an ounce of weight.
If you don't go, I'll assume you're not serious about your future.
Are we to believe Andy is walking the streets of New York with one looping thought? Do I crush Emily's dreams to maybe one day possibly get my own dreams of not actually working at the job of Emily's dreams? Character self-reflects while sifting through old photos of themselves before selling soul to the devil cliche.
Well, good, because I've got so much to deal with before I go. I swear to God,
Taxi cab ex machina. Movie suggests that Miranda would be okay with her first assistant going in person post-surgery to give the news to Emily when a phone call would suffice.
I don't care if she was going to fire you or beat you with a red-hot poker. You should have said no.
Emily is stating this as if she wouldn't have done the exact same thing in Andy's shoes, and maybe that's the point. But it doesn't make me any less furious to see the hypocrisy.
I didn't have a choice.
At no point in this scene does Andy say that she's glad Emily is alive. Is Andy the actual villain of this movie?
The Andy I know is madly in love with Nate.
Oh, it's a third act conflict cliche, but in a movie filled with conflicts, it's sort of lost at its value level.
I know, that's your answer for everything lately. I didn't have a choice.
Weirdly, my answer for everything recently has been skip.
You're mad because I work late all the time and because I missed your birthday party.
I know this is supposed to be a devastating scene, and if I gave a shit about these two being together, maybe it would be, but I don't. Has Andy let her job consume her a bit? Sure. Could that affect a relationship? Of course. Is Nate being a selfish dick at times? And does he come off like the 4-year-old child he claims not to be in this conversation? Also, yes. They both seem like genuinely nice people, and maybe they could work this out, but I can tell you with 100% certainty, I do not f***ing care.
I wouldn't care if you were out there pole dancing all night.
He would.
Just own up to it. And then we can stop pretending like we have anything in common anymore.
As an experiment, I shall try to disprove his idiocy by showing that you can find something in common with anyone if you try. I, for example, have eyebrows too. While they are not quite as caterpillar-esque, they are present. So that is something in common, therefore proving that Nate is just not willing to try. So while asking Andy to own up to her own shit, he too should own up to his own unwillingness to even attempt to relate to a woman he claims to love.
Maybe this trip is coming at a good time. Maybe we should take a break.
Maybe I should take another skip, because this conversation feels interminable. Forgetting the volume button is a thing, a very usable and functional thing.
You know, in case you were wondering, the person whose calls you always take, that's the relationship you're in.
Giving someone shit because they answer the phone when their boss calls.
I hope you two are very happy together.
He does not. Because it's Paris, we have to f***ing show the Eiffel Tower cliche. Also, we wouldn't dare play the music, but the sin, as always, is U2. And yes, I'm still pissed about the album download without consent bullshit they pulled back in 2014.
This is my new Emily.
The movie thinks this new Emily shtick doesn't get old, and the movie is wrong.
You still owe me for Harry Potter.
Christian's one character trait seems to be the always smiling son of a bitch, but to be fair, that's one more character trait than f***ing Nate has. Shh, look kids, it's a rotary phone. Rotary. Zoom in, quietly. Don't wake it. Oh, this is just a press-a-button phone pretending to be a rotary phone. Sigh. Well, we were this close to having a history lesson about something far more interesting than this scene.
That's all.
That's all? But she just said she really needs to
figure out where to place Donatella because she's barely speaking to anyone.
And that is peak plot. Can't move on now. Where will she sit?
Who put that together for you?
That is a jacket and skirt. The putting together was buttoning buttons. What are we doing here?
I can't imagine Runway without you.
I hope Nigel at least considers being magician on the side because he did an amazing job of making that f***ing glass disappear he was holding just a second ago.
You bet your size 6 ass.
4.
Really?
Cheers.
celebrating shrinking asses. Also, I should be offended by all the talks of women's size, I'm sure, but I'm more irritated having to figure out all the f***ing math.
Cheers to you.
This moment started with a celebration of Nigel's promotion outside of the company and ended with a cheers to Andy's smaller ass, and I think the movie believes that is actually okay. I suppose we should skip the scene where Andy expresses that she has had too much wine and her judgment's impaired, and Christian takes advantage of that anyway. Well, send it and then skip. Till rings.
It's Maka.
Yeah. Of?
Remember 4 seconds ago when Andy was clearly very, very late to something and rushing around to get ready? The movie doesn't. I think this scene is about Andy finding out Miranda's job is in trouble, but all I can focus on is the tiny coffee cup being flung around as Christian speaks. The amount of coffee that would be in his cup would be microscopic to survive his gesture, so why coffee at all?
I'm not your baby.
As confident as Andy is now, she won't be when she realizes she was lost before going to his place and is now somewhere in Paris.
Thank you very much for coming today to help celebrate our dear friend, James Holt.
The most we hear this iconic woman speak throughout the entire movie is a speech about a character that we care nothing about.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Andrea. Everybody wants this. Everybody wants to be us.
I can't figure out if I'm upset that Miranda says this or upset that she's right. Either way, I don't f***ing like it. So she walks away from Miranda, great, but how is she getting home? And now her phone is in the fountain, so how is she calling home? She's just walking. When Andy looks down at her phone after it rings, it shows Miranda on the display and says that it's connecting. But it would only say connecting if Andy were the one calling Miranda. The movie doesn't T-Mobile sidekick correctly.
I wanted to say that you were right about everything.
He was not.
I turned my back on my friends and my family and...
For shoes, and shirts, and jackets, and belts.
Did she? I think she was enduring a difficult boss to get the job of her dreams. And sure, Andy sacrificed relationships with her friends and family in her determination to do whatever it took to stay in Miranda's good graces for a year, but not for the clothes. We didn't see that, Andy. I would have loved some dark dimension there, but it has been so f***ing boring to watch her just accept whatever anyone thinks of her from scene to scene.
Sting on the janitors union, that's exactly what we do here. My only question is, Runway? You were there for less than a year.
It's almost like Andy would have been better off to go directly to this job interview and not have a blip of only a partially worked job.
In the end, though, I kinda screwed it up.
The biggest sin of this movie is showing us so many oddly strung together scenes that I'm not actually sure what Andy thinks the fuck up is. The movie ends on 28 seconds of Andy walking. Excitement?
Honestly, I would rather be bitch.